Can Zhen Huan, blessed with both beauty and talent, truly outshine all in the imperial harem and enjoy everlasting favor? A few days later, during my visit to the Empress's palace to pay respects, the courtyard of Fengyi Palace was filled with a variety of flowering plants. Thanks to the warm weather, peonies and peonies were vying with each other in beauty, creating a vibrant display of blossoms throughout the courtyard. Particularly notable were the peonies, blooming in lush clusters, resembling exquisite embroidery, with famous varieties like Yao Yellow, Wei Purple, and Air Chow standing out. Everyone accompanied the Empress under the gallery to admire the flowers. With the arrival of spring, the air was filled with the scent of blossoms and the chirping of birds, while the concubines engaged in soft, playful banter, adding to the cheerful atmosphere. With Consort Hua's return to favor, Consort Jing's recent appointment, and Lady Du's pregnancy, these three were naturally the center of attention, far surpassing the others. Lady Du in particular was held in high esteem, mainly due to her pregnancy. It was understood by all that her current status was due to the child she carried, but the future prospects of being honored through her son were limitless. The Empress specially offered Lady Du a seat and ordered a goose feather cushion for her comfort, saying with a smile, "You are 4 months pregnant, you must take extra care." After expressing her gratitude, Lady Du sat down with the others to enjoy the flower viewing. Standing close to Lady Du, I caught a whiff of her subtle, sweet fragrance, which seemed unusually pleasant and not like the usual scents used in the palace. Smiling, I remarked, "This fragrance is quite delightful. It seems different from the usual palace scents." Lady Du chuckled, unable to hide a hint of pride and vanity on her face, and said, "Your nose is indeed sharp, noble lady. This was a gift from His Majesty a month ago. The imperial physician advised against using musk and other similar fragrances during my pregnancy. So, His Majesty specially ordered the Rouge Workshop to create a new scent for me. I heard it's made from jasmine and ylang ylang mixed with rice flour. It's called Charming Flower Slave, safe for the fetus and moisturizing for the skin. I'm quite fond of it." Her elaborate explanation carried a hint of bragging. Understanding her intent, I replied with a smile, "It sounds truly exceptional." "His Majesty is very considerate towards Lady Du," Lady Du said. "If sister likes it, I can give some to you." I replied with a light smile, "How could I accept something that His Majesty gave exclusively to you?" Lady Du tossed a kumquat to a maid to peel, saying, "That's true. After all, it's a token of His Majesty's affection and shouldn't be given away lightly. Since sister is so polite, I won't insist on you accepting it." Feeling slightly displeased internally, I merely responded indifferently. Exine Guifei, unable to contain herself, let out a cold laugh and said, "Since it's a gesture from His Majesty, you better treasure it. Lady Du, it would be best to place it on an altar to worship, rather than wearing it and having it exposed to the elements, lest you dissipate His Majesty's affection." Ignoring Lady Du's stunned reaction, she pulled me away, murmuring as we walked, "Who hasn't been pregnant before? I just can't stand her arrogant demeanor." I hurriedly tried to calm her. "Sister Exen, please cool down. Now that she's in favor, why bother getting into a spat with her?" The Empress, noticing Exine Guifei's mumbling, inquired, "What is Exine Guifei talking about?" Fei, overhearing my conversation with Exine Guifei, quickly changed the subject. "The weather is so nice today. Why not have the Empress bring out Songzi to bask in the sun?" The Empress smiled. "Fei, you do love that cat, Songzi. You always want to hold it whenever you come. Zhen Jiejie is always too scared to even touch it." With that, she ordered the palace maid Hui Chun to bring out Songzi. I smiled and said, "I'm indeed a bit timid, which amuses Her Majesty. But Songzi does seem quite gentle in Fei's hands." The Empress laughed. "Indeed. It seems this civet cat can recognize people." Fei joined in with a laugh. "Your Majesty is joking. It's because you've trained the cat well, so it's not afraid of people and doesn't bite." Soon, Hui Chun brought out Songzi, whose fur under the sunlight looked as smooth as if it had been glossed over. Jing Fei also laughed. "Her Majesty indeed has a magical touch. Even a cat is nurtured so well by you, its fur feels like satin." When Hui Chun handed the civet cat to Fei, Jing Fei mentioned, "I remember Fei's sister used to have a cat named Emocho, which was very well cared for. but somehow it disappeared. Sister is really good with these little creatures. She then noted. Why does the cat seem so restless today, as if it's quite agitated? Kei-fei, stroking Songzi's squirming back, laughed. No wonder it's restless, it's spring after all. She then quickly added, I did love it, but after the birth of the crown prince, the imperial physician advised against keeping it, so I had to let it go. As Kei-fei spoke, her fingers moved, and the golden-laid nail guards with jade inlays looked particularly attractive in the bright sunlight. I smiled. Others may prefer to keep cats or dogs, but Jing-fei's sister enjoys keeping something unique. The last time I visited your Yunjiao hall, I was startled to find a large tortoise in your big crystal tank. Jing-fei replied with a laugh. I just like it because it's quiet and easy to care for. Not fussy about what it eats. I really can't afford to invest much effort in raising anything, and I'm too clumsy to care for anything delicate. I responded, if Consort Jing herself claims to be clumsy, then I really don't know what to call myself. By saying you're so incapable, Consort Jing, you make someone like me, who is 10 times clumsier, seem even less competent. Our lively conversation made everyone present unable to hold back their laughter. Consort Hua, who had been amusing herself with the peonies, gave a light huff upon hearing our conversation and said to me, Feng Shui hasn't been officially made a consort yet, and here you are, incessantly referring to her as Consort Jing. Isn't that a bit too eager? She laughed and cast a sidelong glance at Feng Jing consort, adding, It's not like there won't be days in the future to call her that. What's the rush? She then covered her mouth and giggled. Her triumphant laughter echoed through the courtyard, falling upon the flowers and leaves. Just as I was about to retort, I felt a tightness in my chest and a wave of darkness before my eyes, accompanied by spinning stars. I had no choice but to catch my breath and rest. Consort Jing turned away silently, and the other consorts stopped laughing, looking embarrassed. The Empress, holding a pink peony, said with a smile, Consort Hua, you're taking this too seriously. Whether or not she's officially made a consort doesn't matter as long as His Majesty holds her in his heart as Consort Jing. Don't you think? Consort Hua's expression hardened as she retorted, If it is so, it is, if not, then it isn't. Those who are blessed can afford to wait, but I'm afraid some who aren't blessed might never achieve it, no matter how brief the delay. The Empress, unfazed, smiled at Consort Jing. Today is the 23rd, and the ceremony is just 2 or 3 days away. You should prepare yourself. She then addressed Consort Hua. How can you say Consort Jing is not blessed? She entered the palace on the same day as you and is now not only being made a consort but will soon assist you in managing the harem. Having someone to help is also your blessing. I, for one, am blessed with more leisure. Everyone promptly praised the Empress's deep fortune. Consort Hua didn't reply but smirked, commenting on the Empress's pink peony. This peony is indeed beautiful, but pink is ultimately an inferior color, not fit for distinguished gatherings. The peony, although not the king of flowers, has a bright red that truly stands out and is the right color. Her words made everyone tense, as no one dared to speak. At this moment, Consort Hua was wearing a brightly blooming red peony, enhancing her radiant beauty and flirtatious gaze. Everyone knew that pink was for concubines, while red and bright red were for the principal wife. With Consort Hua wearing red and the Empress holding a pink flower, the social order seemed inverted. The atmosphere became tense, with no one daring to speak freely. Caught with a flower she couldn't comfortably discard or keep, the Empress was in a difficult position, while Consort Hua appeared quite pleased with herself. I said lightly, as a child, I learned a poem by Lu Yushi, which seems appropriate for the moment. Allow me to share it in front of the Empress and my sisters. Grateful for the diversion, the Empress encouraged. Go ahead and recite it. I recited softly. Before the court, peonies lack grace. Atop the pond, lotuses lack passion. Only the peony truly embodies the nation's beauty, its blooming season stirring the capital. Before I finished, the Empress's mood had lightened, and she casually pinned the peony to her robe. A fine peony, the true beauty of the nation. Superiority and inferiority lie in the heart. No matter how red the peony blooms, it lacks the grace of the peony, the national beauty. Noticing Consort Hua's growing irritation, she smiled. We're here to enjoy the flowers today. Consort Hua, you seem a bit upset. Don't let overthinking ruin the mood. Consort Hua, struggling to suppress her anger, bowed and turned to leave, but in her haste, a string of pearls around her neck caught on a branch, scattering the pearls like sudden rain across the ground. Each pearl, almost the size of a thumb, was perfectly round and nearly indistinguishable in size from the others, indicating their immense value. Unaware at first, Consort Hua only realized what had happened when Xiao Jiejie exclaimed behind her. As she turned around, she accidentally stepped on Lady Du's skirt, who was moving aside to let her pass. Lady Du lost her balance and, stepping on the scattered pearls, slid forward, screaming helplessly. Consort Jing shouted for someone to help, and a quick-thinking eunuch managed to catch Lady Du, though he himself was jostled quite a bit. Relieved to see the royal heir unharmed and a disaster averted, both the Empress and Consort Jing breathed a sigh of relief. My heart was pounding uncontrollably, and as I glanced over, I saw Kei Fei calmly grooming Songzi, seemingly unaffected by the chaos that had just unfolded. Feeling uneasy, I heard the Empress say, "Thank goodness Lady Du is all right," still clutching her chest. Before she could finish, Kei Fei suddenly shouted, and Songzi with a piercing screech leapt away, causing confusion among the crowd. In an instant, Songzi pounced in Lady Du's direction. The civet, usually well-fed and robust, charged with such ferocity that no one dared to intercept. The courtyard was already in disarray from the scattered pearls, with several consorts having slipped and fallen, cries and shouts filling the air. The servants were busy helping one person after another, overwhelmed by the chaos. Caught off guard by Songzi's sudden dash, everyone was momentarily stunned, including Lady Du herself. Knowing this was bad news, I stepped back, only to be forcefully pushed from behind. I stumbled forward, heading straight for Lady Du's protruding belly and the fiercely approaching Songzi. Terror rendered me nearly voiceless, and the sight of Lady Du's terrified face only added to the horror. Her belly, sacred in its promise of new life, softened my heart, making me wonder about the child within. Without time to think, I acted on instinct, twisting my body to avoid a direct collision. I fell hard, with someone landing heavily on my arm. The sharp pain felt like a cut, burning intensely. The pain nearly brought me to tears, but I clenched my teeth to bear it, as shouts filled my ears.
Follow us to avoid getting lost and enjoy endless exciting stories. For more content, please go to the Story Wall homepage to view more exciting novels.